Welcome to this Soulful Yin Yoga class for the Sacral Chakra. So today we're going to be working on the hips and pelvis. For women, we tend to carry a lot of tension. Energy gets trapped in this area because the sacral chakra is also our center for emotion, and it's also our center for creativity. So if we don't have an outlet for our creativity, that can further create stagnant energy being built up in this area, in the same way that if we don't have an outlet to express our emotions freely, and often that is just a person in our life that we can speak to freely when we have emotions. For myself, I'm lucky that I do have a person in my life where I can speak and express my emotions as they arise. But I also find journaling to be a really fantastic way to allow the emotions to surface, and then instead of keeping them in, I can process them by writing them down. So I just wanted to say that because it came up as I was thinking about emotions and the sacral chakra. So this class is all about the hips, and this is not to say that men don't have tension in their hips, because they absolutely do, maybe even more so in some instances, because men are suppressed emotionally and creatively in our society and our collective, and that needs to change for everyone. So I hope you enjoyed today's class. Make sure you have props available. You'll need 2 of these foam blocks. You might need a regular sized yoga block, a bolster, blanket, and a yoga strap or scarf. So let's begin cross-legged and just centering ourselves, bringing our attention to the body and the breath. Just begin taking a deep breath into the belly, feeling the belly expand out, drawing the breath up into the chest, pausing at the top and exhaling from the chest first, and then drawing the belly in. Slow, deep, diaphragmatic breaths. This is how we breathe for the entire practice, right? In the Yin Yoga practice, we're practicing those basic foundations of mindfulness, the mindfulness of the body and the mindfulness of the breath. Just observing breath and body, thoughts as they come in, and thoughts as they go out. Visualizing your root system from the base of the spine, anchoring you into the earth. Supporting you, holding you. Notice where you're holding tension in your body. Are you clenching your belly, your pelvis, shoulders, or neck? Just soften. And we'll begin our practice in a wide-legged child's pose. So I would like you to really exaggerate this distance between your knees to begin. So making it more than hip distance, quite a bit of space between the knees. And then reaching your hands out in front, you can place a cushion or a pillow here to rest your head if you need to. Otherwise, just bringing your forehead to the floor. Deep breaths. Lengthening away from the body. Pressing the bum towards the heels. Toes, big toes are touching. Deep breaths through the nose. Soften the upper back, chest and shoulders. Let your chest melt towards the floor. And from here, bringing yourself up just a little bit. And halfway, and bring the knees closer together. Can bring them all the way touching or just about hip distance. Then coming back down. And just notice the change in sensation. Again, scanning the body. Where are you clenching? Where are you holding tension that it can soften. Last few breaths here. And taking one last deep inhale through the nose and exhale through the mouth. And the inhale, pressing into the hands and slowly coming up. Just pausing for a moment here in rock pose. Now from here, we're going to come into a runner's lunge. So coming up onto the knees, springing yourself further back on the mat. If you need extra support for your knee, you can use a pillow or a cushion of some sort to place under the left knee. We're going to step the right foot forward, bringing the right knee over top of the right ankle. Okay, and then just lunging forward. We'll start with our hands on the floor on either side of the leg. Just closing the eyes and tuning in to the sensations in the hips, hip flexors, groin, back, wherever you're feeling it. Just sending the breath there. Creating space with the inhale. Exhaling any tension that you no longer want to carry. Staying here with the hands on the floor, or if you like, you can come up into a more active form with the hands at the center of the chest. Again, making sure that the knee is over the ankle. Deep breaths. From here, we're going to move into lizard pose. So we're going to bring both hands on the inside of the right foot and then just walk the right foot to the edge of the mat. So you have both hands. If it's difficult to have the hands flat on the floor, then you can use blocks to elevate the hands as needed. Try to keep the hips square. There's a tendency for the left hip to want to dip to the side. Right, square it up. And if you'd like to go a bit deeper, if you feel that you have the space to move a bit deeper, you can come down onto the forearms, or you can place blocks to elevate the forearms a little bit higher. And one last deep breath here, in through the nose. Exhale through the mouth. Just bringing the left knee a little bit closer, shifting the weight over the left knee. And we're going to take the right foot and leg and cross it over the left knee, kind of like you would if you were sitting in a chair. And then from here, we're going to sit back into a pose called shoelace pose. So when you're sitting in the shoelace pose, you might find that your right hip really pops up, in which case you can take a block, prop your bum up to support you. And if you don't feel a lot in this pose, you can take the left foot and start to move it away from the body. So we're mimicking what looks like a knot. And then just settling in here. Coming back to the deep belly breaths. Observing your thoughts. And even going as far as to observe any outside distractions without judgment. This has been a big part of my own practice. It's not attaching to circumstances, distractions that are out of my control. It just is. Last 40 seconds here. If you'd like to shift the body in any way, you can do so now. Taking one last deep breath here. Exhale through the mouth. And moving out of this pose, just lean back. Bring the hands behind the body. And just slowly release the legs out in front. Uncross them. And just give them a little shake for a moment. And then moving on to the other side, so coming back to the knees. Coming close to the back edge of your mat, finding a pillow for your right knee if needed. Coming up onto the knees, and we're going to lunge the left leg forward. Bringing both hands on either side of the leg, left knee over the left ankle. Just give yourself some deep breaths here to sink and soften into this pose. Either staying here or coming up, bringing the hands into prayer mudra. From here, moving into lizard pose, we're going to bring the hands on the inside of the left foot, walking the left foot out to the edge of the mat, and using either props underneath the hands if needed, and then squaring those hips. like with the other side, if you would like to come deeper, you can come down on to the forearms, providing it doesn't compromise the squaring of your hips. And last deep breath here, in through the nose, out through the mouth. Tucking the right toes, bringing the right knee a little closer, and slowly shifting the weight over onto the right foot. And then bringing that left leg across the right, coming into shoelace pose. I'll just turn this way so you can see a bit better. And supporting, elevating your pelvis as needed. Eventually finding stillness. Redirecting yourself back to the body, back to the breath. Checking in with the integrity of the spine, sitting up nice and tall. Tall but soft. You don't want to have a lot of rigid holding in the core. Shoulders are back and soft. No clenching the jaw. No frowning. Last 40 seconds here, shifting the body if you like in any way. Last deep breath in through the nose. Exhale through the mouth. Bring your weight back, bringing the arms behind the body, and just releasing the legs out in front, giving them a shake. From here, we're coming into half butterfly. So we're going to take the right foot and bring it to the sole of the right foot is going to press into the inner thigh of the left. And then just relax. Relax the foot. There's no active pressing. And from here, lengthening the spine and squaring the hips and the chest forward towards the left foot. And then we're going to walk our hands down and just relax the head, neck, and shoulders once you find that edge. Again, you can use any props that you like to assist you so that you can relax the head. You can use multiple pillows or bolsters as needed. There's a very gentle activation in the left leg, just enough to keep the left foot gently staying straight so that it doesn't externally rotate and kind of flop open. You're not actively flexing the left foot, just a very little bit to stabilize it and keep the leg centered. Last minute here, adjusting or deepening as required. You can lengthen the spine out, reach the arms a bit further, or just stay where you are. last deep breath in through the nose, out through the mouth. Slowly pressing into the hands, walking yourself out. Just pausing at the top. And from here, we're going to grab onto the right knee and just press the right foot onto the floor. And just come into a gentle twist by wrapping the left arm around the right, and then bringing the right hand behind the body. Have just your fingertips on the floor and just looking towards the right. Coming back center, releasing the right leg forward, and then bringing the sole of the left foot to the inner thigh of the right, squaring those hips, squaring the chest forward. Again, just a gentle activation in this leg so that it doesn't externally rotate outwards. Lengthen the spine. And walk your hands down, finding your edge. Once you do, relaxing the head, neck, and shoulders. Using any props that you need to for this side. If you need to have your chest elevated or your forehead elevated, just use any prop. last minute here, deepening the pose if that feels good for you, or just staying where you are. Deep inhale here, in through the nose, and out through the mouth. Pressing into the hands, slowly walking yourself out of the pose, just pausing at the top for a moment, stacking the spine. And then drawing that left knee up, pressing the left foot into the floor. Left ankle is touching the inner thigh of the right foot. And bringing the left hand behind you, wrap your right arm around the left knee, turning towards the left, gazing towards the left. Deep breaths here. Coming back to center, releasing both legs. From here, we're coming into butterfly pose. So bringing the soles of the feet together. You may find that you need some support under the bum for this one as well, so sitting on a block if you need to. And just grabbing onto the feet with the hands, kind of gently opening the feet, pressing the knees towards the floor, kind of like you're opening a book with the feet. So begin by lengthening the spine, bending from the waist, keeping the chest lifted. And once you find your edge, relaxing the head, neck, and shoulders. At this point, you can choose to bring your hands out in front. Again, using any props. If you'd prefer not to have the neck hanging down, then you can use a bolster or even a stool with a cushion on it to support your head. awareness on the breath. Sending the inhales into the areas of tension. And exhaling that tension out of the body. And last deep breath here. In through the nose. And out through the mouth. Slowly bringing yourself up. You can release. Bring the knees together, release the legs. From here we're going to move into Pigeon Pose, where we are putting our weight on the left knee. So I'm going to show you the variation first, a modification, of thread the needle first. If you have any problems with your knees or a lot of tightness in the hips and difficulty getting into pigeon pose and relaxing and staying in the pose, it can be a challenging one for a lot of people, including myself. So I'll show you thread the needle first in case you would like to come out and modify at any point. So thread the needle, we come to lie on the back, keeping the left foot down on the floor. I'm going to take the right ankle and cross it over onto the left thigh, just above the knee. We're going to kind of press away the right knee, stretching the hip away. And then from here, you're going to lift the left foot off the ground and grab behind the thigh. And just either rest here. If you feel that you can go deeper into this pose, then you can grab on to the shin, the left shin. And just breathing deeply here. If you are coming into pigeon pose, then we're coming onto the hands and the knees. Just want to get my timer right here. And we're going to bring the right knee over to the right wrist, and then bringing the left heel over to, you can start by bringing it over to the left hip area, or just below the left hip, keep the hip square, and then walking the left leg back. If you're quite open in the hips, then you can bring that left heel more square to the body so that you're making a straight line. If you find that you need a bit of support on the right side here, you can use a pillow or a cushion or a foam block here to support that hip. We want to have our hips square to the front of the room. And we'll just begin here with our hands flat on the floor and our arms straight, but have your cushions and props available to you within reach. So just beginning to soften here. You can begin with just a really gentle rock if you like. Making any last adjustments. And then you can either stay here with the arms straight and the palms down, or you can come down onto the forearms. Deepening that breath, letting that breath help you to release all of the tension that's gathered here in the right hip. If you would like to release the head at this point, you can either bring the head all the way to the floor, or you can use your props to rest the head down. The trick for this one is finding that sweet spot that's not too much intensity, so that you can find stillness and breathe. If the intensity is too much and it's disturbing your mind and you're not able to find that still point, then go back just a little bit. Last minute here, making any adjustments. Last deep breath here, in through the nose, out through the mouth. Slowly pressing into the hands if you're down. And from here, you can choose to just bring the right hand on the opposite side or just beside the right thigh, and then just shift your weight over onto the right hip. And then just guiding the left leg out in front, bringing both legs stretched out in front, giving them a shake. And moving into the other side, I'm just going to turn my mat because there's a real cold spot right there. Okay. So, having your props handy where you need them, coming back onto all fours if you're coming into pigeon. If you did thread the needle on the first side, then please do thread the needle on the opposite side as well. Bringing the left knee over to the left wrist and the left ankle over towards the right hip, and bringing the right foot back, and just making some adjustments, placing the props wherever you need them, maybe tucking under the left hip if you need that support. Squaring the hips to the center of the room. Taking a few breaths here. And as you're ready, you can make your way down, either on the forearms or props under the forearms. And maybe releasing the head and the neck, if that feels available to you. If it's not, and you want to just keep an active neck and shoulders with a lifted chest, then feel free to do that. Again, just finding that place where you're able to breathe through the intensity and soften. The last 30 seconds here. And a deep breath in through the nose, out through the mouth. Slowly walking yourself back up to center. Take your time and release yourself onto that left hip and help your right leg forward. Just releasing the legs. And we're going to come onto our back into a pose called Happy Baby. So you may want to grab 2 scarves or yoga straps if you have, or belts, anything. And you might not need it, but if you do, it's nice to have them close by. So for this one, we come to lie on the back, and then we're going to bring the feet up and grab onto the outside of the feet. So if you have a hard time reaching your feet, this is where you're going to wrap your scarf around your feet, grab onto the scarf on both sides, and just pull. And you're pressing the feet into the hands or the scarves, and you're pulling with the hands or the scarves downwards. And there's a bit of activation in the lower abdominal muscles as you're pressing the low back and the pelvis towards the floor. Because at first they're really going to want to pop up like this, and that's okay. But your intention is going to be to press the low back and the pelvis towards the floor. Feet press into hands, hands press into feet. Finding stillness here. And let there be activation only in the places that I mentioned, the hands, the feet, the pelvis. So notice if you're clenching your jaw or squeezing your neck or frowning. Soften the areas that don't need to hold tension for this pose. last deep breath here. In through the nose. Out through the mouth. You can slowly release yourself out of the pose. And make your way into our final pose, Shavasana. Finding a blanket if you need. Keeping the feet about hip distance apart, just allow the feet to relax outwards, externally rotating. Leave some space between the arms and the body. Relaxing the toes and feet, shins and ankles, knees, thighs, and hips. Softening the low back, upper back, chest, shoulders, upper arms, forearms, wrists and hands. Neck, jaw. Soften the eyes and the forehead. And rest. And begin to deepen the breath. Wiggle the fingers and the toes. Rotate the wrists and the ankles. And draw both knees into the chest. Rocking gently side to side. Rolling over onto the right side and slowly making your way up to sit. Bring your hands to heart center. It's been an honor guiding you through this practice. Sat Nam. Namaste.